Hello everybody and welcome to our fabulous In Conversation with one of our amazing Local Contemporary Art Prize 2026 finalists, but also the winner of the 2D Excellence Award, Ketakii Jewson-Brown. I always get a bit caught up on that. It's the beautiful work. If you haven't seen it, this is the last week, so you really need to come in and see all of the works, but this one in particular is such an evocative work. But I'll start off with just acknowledging the country that we're gathering on today. Our First Nations peoples are the Gubbi Gubbi and the Yinabara peoples. They are our first artists, our first dancers, our first sharers of culture, our first artists, and they continue beside us in this amazing place that we call the Sunshine Coast, and the land is still very much connected to them spiritually, economically, emotionally, and they share that knowledge with us so freely. I'd like to acknowledge the elders that have passed, the ones that are working alongside us at the moment, and all of those beautiful ones coming through. So, hello, Ketakii, how are you?
Hello, I'm good.
I always get a bit anxious because I go on and on and on, but I'd like to do just a quick blurb about Ketakii.
Sure.
So, Ketakii is a photographer living and working on Yinabara country, Sunshine Coast Interland. Her photographs capture intimate portraits, highlighting tender moments of connection, grace and surrender. She does her best to wait for that in-between moments, which I think is always that golden star that you want when you're a photographer, when one's guard is down and something unusual, hidden shines through. She's been exhibiting since 2008.
Correct.
And has been finalist in many awards, including the Moran Contemporary Photographic Prize, the Melp Photographic Prize, Portrait Prize, as well as the Sunshine Coast National Art Prize, which just closed if you didn't get in, bad luck, and several times in the Local Contemporary Art Prize, and she has now won, obviously, the 2D Excellence for this year's. Yay! And I think it's really interesting that you talk about that idea of capturing that moment in between. Your work that you have in the show, which is, so emotional, Tender Love, is such a beautiful work. And we were talking just before we came on live that there is this extraordinary emotional connection with the audience for this work. Myself, I cried when I saw it, and I had seen it previously really small. And when the artists they put a thumbnail in, and of course the thumbnail shows that element of it, and then you go, well, I know Ketakii's work, I know it's going to be fabulous. So you were selected, obviously, for the 40. But until you get the work on the floor, you're always a little bit,
what's it going to actually look
what
like?
is it going to work? And in fact, the work and the scale that it sits at is really beautiful because it's also almost life-size scaling, which means you become part of the photograph.
And that was intentional. I wanted it big.
And it's gorgeous because of that. I think it's powerful even small, but to have it that size, you're walking into a conversation that's happening between these two people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the work is so strong, even though there's no head. You know, it's just the body and the hands, and it's an extraordinary piece. So if you haven't seen it, come in. But do you work often in this? We were talking about digital versus film.
Yes, I do probably more film now than digital, and I think until I got my first digital camera in 2007, my husband bought it for me, and it sat in the box because I was like, I'm always a bit scared of new technology. Like,
Takes a while.
And it was great for financial reasons to use digital because film is not cheap.
No.
But I take much better photos on film camera. I slow down, I'm more intentional, and there's something about the materiality of film itself that just, I think, is magical. We were talking before we got on, like digital is dotting. It's dots put all together, and there's something less less controlled with film because all of those other elements come in, and we were saying that you can take 600 images of the same view in front of you, and there'll be one that captures that moment of, oh my God. Do you do your own developing, or do you send out? No, I send out. I send to a lab in Melbourne, who are the best lab I've found so far, and they're just brilliant, Ikigai. And I used to do my own developing when I first started at TAFE. I did both black and white and colour developing, and I loved it. Colour developing is like you're in complete darkness and you have to tell them every single move that you're doing. Like, I'm coming down the hall, I'm at this spot, and you're bumping into people. But learning how to do it is just brilliant. Like, it's absolute magic. When I did my undergraduate, I did, you do your 6 months and you do everything to find out.
Dabble.
And so photography I particularly loved because we would develop our roll of films, in the dark room, in the bag, with little black and whites.
Yeah,
and then
getting it on the thing.
Seeing it develop in the tray. There's something like godlike about
it's
that.
Magic.
It is. It's absolutely magic.
Yeah.
And whoever, I know you probably know who started it first.
Oh, there's a few. It goes back quite a way.
Yeah. And they must have just been like, oh my God, I've created my own
this
world.
Use of light and chemicals, like you said, to burn away and to allow.
We were saying it's almost like a print, like the print process, because light takes away elements. And the old pinpoint cameras.
Pinhole cameras.
I just love them. Pinhole cameras.
They're amazing.
Technology, terminology. Anyway, I've gone off on a tangent. We've gone down the rabbit hole, and I do have a couple of questions.
Okay.
So,
here for it.
How and when did you first become interested in art?
Oh, great question. I think I'd always been visually minded. Art, I don't know, I loved drawing, come from a very large family, 2 families joined together, so I'm one of 8. So all of us kids, we were always creating. We were always being creative. And it was before, streaming services. So we were outside a lot. We hardly watched television. We lived in nature. And so we used to go to the creek and pretend that, we just have dramatic games all the time. So I think it was a way of just being alive, was being creative.
Yeah.
And then I got my first camera at 13. One was left at the stall my mum was working at Woodford Folk Festival.
Oh, yes.
And so she waited until the end of the festival and no one came and got it, and she gifted it to me. And I think it was this combination of being able to be an observer, but also be there as well. So I could step in and out of situations and social gatherings. And I loved collecting. So I loved collage and collecting moments. And it felt like it just went in with that. So from there.
Because that's really lovely. Ketakii did a residency.
Yes.
Just recently, and she's been pulling up all of her old archive. And we went down her corridor near her studio, and it was just covered with glimpses of life that she's been part of, and
little constellations.
And pulling them together and moving them around. And I actually thought that was amazing. I often don't think that photography you then can collage and tell different stories and all of that sort of stuff. I often think photograph is that one end thing because I come from that background. But that whole idea that you can take images from when you were 18 to now when you're still
and
only 18.
What they say when they're next to each other, and you can change those out, and it tells a completely different story.
And then it becomes a work unto itself. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
So you always had that, like you were creative, but photography was one of your first sort of means.
Absolutely. I think because I'm impatient. So I love the immediacy of it. I could see something happening, and in the beginning it was definitely more documentary style, capturing what's happening in front of me and waiting for the light or waiting for that person's guard to drop. And then I think my love of portraiture and talking to people and seeing what I could get from behind the scenes that they didn't readily give. Because
some of your work has been really interesting. You've printed on fabric and then had sewing stuff on it. This one's purely photographic, which was a bit of a surprise because I'm so used to you doing that sort of collaging and that sort of multimedia component with your photographs to push it a little bit different into different areas.
I think with this one I wanted to show maybe that distillation of one moment in one photograph can say everything and can say more than everything, and it can be timeless and really reach lots of people. So it's a motive, it's a portrait, it's a story, it's all of the many things, all of the things. Yeah, exactly.
So is I guess film or cameras your favourite medium to work in? Because I know you've pushed yourself into different areas.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be my favourite, and even as a starting point, starting with a photograph and then seeing where you can end up. With the
always that. Have you painted, or did you ever go down that stream?
No, not really. I think I didn't ever think I was a very good drawer or painter. So I haven't really dabbled, and maybe it's that thing of I've never given it enough time to see if I'm any good.
We're too busy taking
Too busy,
photos.
I know, and I've got so many other things. There's collage and there's sewing and there's,
all of the other things. And your sewing is an interesting thing to bring in. So when did you start bringing that component, that fibre?
That was
into your work?
probably, like, I remember making a patchwork quilt with my mum when I was 8 or something, and I loved it. I loved, like, that's kind of like collage with fabric, figuring it out, and I used a couple of old jumpers as panels and was like, oh, this is really, really cool. But more in my later life would be with the collaborative work I've done with Shay Hardesty.
Yep.
And so
Shay does some amazing stuff.
Yeah, so she's a full-blown textile artist and is incredible. And I was like, oh, that's right, I did like this. And I've always hand-sewn, like I've always mended in that way.
Okay, yep.
Sort of adding that extra layer to things.
To your work.
Yeah.
Okay, what has been your greatest influence of your work?
Oh, greatest influence. That's really the body, I guess. Mm-hmm. I've always been interested in showcasing the body and nature, and I guess I probably think of them as the same thing, like that we are from nature. So trying to remind myself and other people of that, because I think we grow up and we live in a society that has this one idea and ideal of what people should look like.
Yep. Oh yes, all women know that.
Yeah, or what's the ideal body, and you go into nature and you don't look at a tree and go, oh, that's a fat tree, or that's an ugly tree. And once I heard that, I was like, you're right, you don't. And so why have we started doing that? Or why have we allowed that to happen? So it's bringing that back, that we're just shapes in nature. And also for older women, I was just talking earlier about taking some photos of this beautiful older woman, I think she's almost 80, to just highlight the beauty and the wisdom and the strength in these women who get often overlooked.
Yeah.
So probably nature.
So really nature with the body.
Yeah.
Is there artists that have influenced you?
Yes. Let me see. Sally Mann as a photographer. She does a lot of stuff in nature. Probably, female photographic artists, mother artists, people who are raw and open and vulnerable. Yeah. Sally Mann. There's another guy. What's his name? Peter.
That's right.
American guy who does lots of collagey stuff.
Yeah. So this is Facebook Live, so people can put questions on, and maybe down the track you can put in a couple of names, just so that people could have a look at not only
Nan Golden, Vivian Meyer.
There we go.
I'm like, there's names here. Tamara Dean, who's an Australian photographer, she's brilliant. She does a lot of nature-based stuff. Lily Waters is also Australian. Katrin Koenig, who I did my mentorship with.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and she calls those in-between moments slippages.
Nice.
It's like little slips of time, and I think that's really beautiful.
It's a beautiful term, do you have a website?
I do have a website.
So maybe tell everyone your website.
My website is www.ketakiijewson-brown.com, and it will be in the notes so you can know how to spell it.
So make sure you go and have a look as well. All right, that's amazing. So, all right, we're doing well.
Thank you.
I'm very impressed with myself. What would you describe as your most memorable moment in your career, other than this, of course?
Other than this one. I think very early on, so 11 years ago, I was a finalist in the National Photographic Portrait Prize down in Canberra. And it was at the beginning of my practice. My girls were still very small, and I think it was just, it came out of nowhere. I was like, oh my God, okay, I'm doing something right. This can work. And I think it was just what I needed.
What was the portrait?
It's a portrait of my daughter. She's sitting in our van. I actually drove quickly home to get my camera and back up to this ridge to take a photo of the sunset, and then I turned around and she was sitting in the window, and it's got very tinted windows around her, and she just had this, she was just gazing vacantly, but it was,
a beautiful slipping moment.
Exactly.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
And that made you think, okay, there's a possibility.
Yeah, let's keep going with this.
It is hard, and particularly with children and partners.
All of it.
Yeah, all of the things.
Yeah.
So, where's your studio? You have a studio?
In Nambour. Yeah.
Have you always had a place that you go to, or?
No, not always.
Yeah.
Only in the last sort of 5 years.
Yeah.
And that started with council-funded space in Nambour that Shay and I shared. Mm-hmm. And then when that was closing, I was like, no, I still need this space to go to.
Yeah.
And even if it's currently just really storing most of my stuff.
The other great thing that poor old artists have to deal
with.
Store
the stuff.
So, what are you currently working on?
I'm currently working on images of an older woman. I took 2 rolls recently, and I had a beautiful backdrop that was hand-painted for me, a canvas backdrop.
Oh, nice.
And this is a project I wanted to start before the Sunshine Coat project, so maybe like 4 years ago now.
Wow, that is a while.
And I just had to kind of put it on the side because the coat project took off.
Yes.
And I finally got it out again, and so that I want to work on. I also want to take some portraits of myself with my mother and my children.
Oh, nice.
So I've got a little air release cable for my beautiful big film camera, and so that's definitely on the cards.
Yeah.
A lot of that kind of stuff. Yeah, and still digging through the archive and making work, hopefully making a zine and a dummy for a book in the next year and a half.
Oh, that's good. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
So you'd be about 15 years, 20 years into your career.
Yeah.
So your 20-year...
Yeah. Retrospective?
Well, no, not retrospective. Mini survey.
Mini survey.
Got still fabulous years ahead, madam.
My mini survey. Love that.
So what is the one piece of advice that has stuck with you?
Probably to just find out what you like and follow that.
Yeah.
And it's really hard, especially now with social media and so many people showing their work and showing their best bits and not the behind the scenes, but to find out what you like and to understand why you like it and just to follow that.
Yeah. Because it is hard in this
really
era
hard.
where photography is always in your face.
Yeah.
And there's,
Yeah.
Insta is a whole platform of
Exactly.
just captured moments.
Yeah.
To
Exactly.
be able to still make and be recognised as an artist, as a photographer, an artist
Totally.
who is a photographer, is I think really hard.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting thing. Have you? How do you deal with that? Like, do you put in for prizes? Have you got exhibitions that you go with?
Yeah, I put in for prizes. That's why I'm going through my archive, because I really want to get enough work together for some exhibitions.
Yeah.
I've been involved in group exhibitions, but I would really like to have enough for my own show in the not too distant future. And it's just plugging away at it. It's making sure you always are carving out time for your art.
Yeah.
And you have to do it first before you do the dishes, and you have to do it first before you do the other things.
Yeah. So do you go every day to your studio?
Definitely not.
I thought
wish.
you were going to say definitely do.
No. But when I do, I'm there all day and just trying to work at it. I do also work from home sometimes when I just don't want to have to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
But the studio space is just good because you can't get distracted by the dishes.
Yeah, and it's your space.
Yeah,
That's where your headset is.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess as your children get a little bit older, you get slightly more time.
Yeah.
Although they keep saying that, I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if that's true either. You do and you don't,
It's a
because you're
different...
still filling it with all this other stuff that relates to them as well. Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So you've been working at a Nambour for quite a while now. Was there pivotal moments that assisted you there?
In Nambour?
Yeah.
There's just such a beautiful community in Nambour. I know Nambour gets a really bad rap, but people are so friendly and kind, and the art space there, the art scene is really, really supportive.
Yeah, it's pretty pumping.
Yeah, it is really
and
pumping.
I think Second Space was a good space
Second
for a while.
Space was incredible, and to have visiting artists in residency in that space, and Shay and I were kind of like the space mums, as we called ourselves, because we were there all the time. So we got to meet so many people from all walks of life and all sorts of practices, and that was really integral in that understanding of, oh wow, that's right, every artist has a story and has maybe a second job or has a this or has a that you get this idea and you put everyone up on a pedestal and you've just got a nod. You're like, oh, that's right, we're all just doing what we can and we're learning from each other, and it's brilliant.
Second Space was run by the Creative Arts team and with the support of Council. It was an amazing project for 3 years.
I think around 3 years.
3 years, where they had residences, artist residents, creatives in, and then they had studio spaces for artists to come in and
come and visit.
go.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing space. It was
so incredible. They had like two different artists each month coming through.
And that's a phenomenal thing for the industry to have at that point in time. It was really exciting, exciting time.
Yeah.
So you're working towards a book. You're working towards your own mini survey.
Yep.
Although it won't be because you're reimagining your works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So which is really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
And do you have pivotal times when you want to, like, because you talk about nature, is it that you go into nature as well?
Yeah,
is it
absolutely.
Like in summer, in spring?
Anytime.
Bush?
Anytime it works. Most people don't really want to get naked in the bush in winter because it's a bit cold, but some people are fine.
Yeah. So you always want to put naked people in
definitely,
places.
Always. Always. So if you're keen, no, most of the time I think it just highlights nature itself and us as beings of nature, shapes in nature. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
But definitely more in summertime because it's lighter, longer.
Yeah, and the
Although
light is different.
In winter's beautiful for sunrise because you don't have to get up as early.
Yes,
But
and
it is
there's
cold.
a different colour.
Exactly.
The light is different.
Yeah.
And do you mostly work in black and white? Do you work in colour?
Both.
Both.
Yeah. I do, I'm leaning back more towards black and white. When I first started taking photos, it was all black and white. And then when I started learning colour darkroom, I was like, oh no, I could get into this.
Yeah.
And I think there's different moments for each of it.
Yeah.
And you do like small, intimate images or big images? Which way do you lean? It's just whichever
Could be
works
anything,
better.
whichever works
Yeah.
better.
So
yeah.
this was a considered decision.
Yeah, and
so
I did
that
want it
people-
more life-size.
Yeah.
I wanted it to really touch people.
So you create the work, but you also then take into account the viewer.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Sometimes,
I think
not
sometimes,
always.
Okay, all right. So
Can't pin me down, Joe.
and rightly so. That's how we should be. So have you got anything in any prizes coming up?
I've entered the Sunshine Coast Art Prize.
I've got there yet.
I've got a whole list of prizes that are coming up
Yep.
that I want to enter, and they're all on my calendar, and I'm going through, and it's tricky. I always have this idea, no, I'm going to be really organised, and I'm going to know exactly what work I'm going to put into things, but it just never unfolds that way.
No, it
So
never
I
does.
do have a lot of work, and I've been taking a lot of photographs. I'm part of an online photographic group called Memory Cult, which is
nice.
the founder is American,
Yeah.
Anastasia Pagonis, and she started it in 2022.
Yep.
And it's just this beautiful group, female photographers all around the world, and we get a monthly project, and so it really
Nice.
is inspiring. And so I'm
That's
taking
great.
heaps of photos.
Yeah. And then you get online and talk about
We have a
your
chat.
work.
She has visiting artists that come through.
Oh.
So Catherine Koenig's been one of those. I've also had David Campany from the UK, who's he
Nice.
runs, I think, the International Centre of Photography in New York.
Yep.
So we get to talk and listen to and ask questions of really influential people. And
Oh, wow.
it's
That's
been
great.
magic for my practice.
Yeah.
So that's
It's
really good.
Widen it. That's really good.
Yeah.
I'm just going to check with my other boss whether there's any questions. No questions. And how are we going for time? Another 10 minutes? Oh my goodness,
covered
I've
a
run
lot.
out of questions. So we're going to just have to have a natter. So with regards, do you think prizes are good?
Yes and no. It's an interesting one. I think they've been brilliant for me, and I know that the National Photographic Portrait Prize, which I think this year's the last year, they...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
I know, which I'm
shame.
really sad. I don't know what's going to fill its boots, but when I first entered in 2015 and was a finalist, I think you could enter up to 6 images, and it was $30 an image. And then
Okay.
a few years later, they changed it, so you could only enter one, but it was free to enter.
Right.
And then they paid for everything. They
Okay.
flew you down, and I was like, that's brilliant, especially for a really big institution. I understand that not every institution can do that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess it depends. There's so many now that it's really hard to know if the one you're entering is worth it. What the parameters are. I think some people, they ask for a lot of money, and there's really not much prize money if you do win. And so it costs a lot to print and frame work, especially professionally. So, yeah. But when you are a finalist and when you win something, you just go, yes, I love prizes. They're amazing. When you don't, you're a bit like, ah.
Yes, it is.
So-
So I guess the thing about prizes is that if you don't have somewhere that you're showing your work, it is a way of getting your work
Shown.
seen wider.
100%.
And particularly if it's a prize, because then it goes out on social media.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how many people we've had come through, but we've had quite a lot of people through
Yeah.
the gallery to see this exhibition, both
Yeah,
visitors
totally.
and locals. So there's always those pluses, I guess.
Absolutely. And also, as a finalist, you get to meet all these other artists, and you
Yes,
get to
which
see
is
all this
lovely.
other work. It's brilliant.
And
Yeah.
you get to hear a judge who usually should be a reasonably good peer talk about your work
that
and
was
ask you
brilliant.
questions.
That was brilliant. I actually messaged our beautiful judge and asked her if I could have the snippet from her speech that she wrote about mine, because I was touched by what she said. It was beautiful.
It's a really strong work, which is obviously why it got,
Thank you.
And we do this every year.
Yeah.
And you usually put in every year.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get in and sometimes you
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah,
And that's the
exactly.
nature of prizes, unfortunately.
Totally.
But we haven't finished downloading our Sunshine Coast National Art Prize because it only closed on Sunday. And of course, we
That's
still
right.
got artists ringing going, but I didn't know. And we went,
No, you did know.
It's been open since February the 2nd.
It's so hard. I feel them. I'm always very last minute. I used to be on the day. Now I'm a few days before. So I'm getting better. I'm getting much, much better.
And it's like, you're a professional artist, what are you doing?
I don't know, I think you feel like time stops.
It does. Who would believe we're in the second week of May?
No, exactly.
It's like,
surely time stops when I need it to stop, but it doesn't. Yeah.
So you're working on, so will you be going to the studio this week? Have you been to the studio this week?
Yes, I haven't been this week, but I will be going this week.
Yes.
It's really tricky. I've got, I do have another job. I work as a support worker to sort of fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
And so finding work, time and energy in between
and
those
it's that
works.
energy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it is a 40-minute drive from where I live.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah,
it is also
a
that
bit,
you do need to factor in like being there and spending the time there. But I do definitely try to go at least once a week, if not 2 or 3 times.
Okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
And is your partner really supportive?
He's very, very supportive.
I think all partners of artists
well, he's an artist himself. He's,
okay.
he's a musician. So we've lived a very kind of life with the kids. When the kids were little, I definitely put my work and art on the back burner so that he could do his stuff and go out there. And I was with the kids quite a lot, which is why now I'm like, right, I'm ready for everything. Give it to me.
It's my time to shine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think of where else. So you also do some performance art as well?
Correct, yes.
So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Shay and I have done a work called Confessional, which was part of last year's Horizon Festival. And then we were commissioned to do it up in Noosa as well, which it's an interactive performance installation with up to 2, or even more than that, 2 tons of fashion waste to
There was
highlight.
a lot of stuff in that little
Yeah,
place.
a lot.
There was a lot of stuff in the shop.
To highlight the problem with fashion waste on the coast. I think we found the national average and then divide it by population, and up to 11 tonnes a day gets thrown out on the Sunshine Coast. That's a day, people. That's a lot of clothing.
Yeah.
Lots of it gets taken to op shops and they can't do anything with it. If it has a rip or like a stain, it just gets thrown out. And so we wanted to highlight that in a really absurd, gently overwhelming way.
Yes.
And then you can come through to our confessional booth, and confess your fashion sins and be absolved.
I have to say, I've got to get out of our house very soon, and so we're going. We've got to pack up, and we're going to get rid of all of our stuff. And yesterday, I brought 5 new pieces of garments into the house because they were free and they were fabulous. And it's like, so it is. It's
really tricky. You need to have a thing of like whatever comes in, you take either the same or double that amount back out immediately. So you're like, I got 5.
I say to myself that's going to happen, and I have like a full wardrobe, and I have 5 items that I wear every week.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We all do. And
crazy.
we've sold this idea again of like we need all this stuff and we love it and it's fabulous, but
So performance, have you been doing performance much?
Not really, not up until Confessional. I had in my past, like my high school drama teacher was very disappointed that I didn't pursue a career in drama. She was like, you are fabulous, I'm a middle child. My time to shine, people. And so I guess it felt really natural when Shay and I lent into that, and natural for Shay as well. We're like, actually, we are performance artists.
Can you tell a little bit about the Coats project? Because that was extraordinary.
The Coat project was amazing. We were offered the space at Second Space, and they said to us, we'd just like you to pitch us a project that you can create here. Originally, it was going to be a 3-month project. We then took 18 months to complete it. It was very steeped in community and community participation. Lots of story and layered of connection in Nambour. So it ended up being 17 coats, like a love letter to Nambour in coats and photography. So we collaborated with 11 artists on coats, and then Shay and I did 6 ourselves. One was full of trolleys, one was the specialist building, which isn't there anymore. I can still remember when this Channel 7 came and did an interview with us. That big blue building is instantly recognisable. And it is. And now it's a coat and now it's gone. So it's like we're creating this history of coats. And it was brilliant. It was 2023. It was at the old ambulance station. I think it's still one of the most attended exhibitions in the ambulance history. And at the end we had a massive party that filled the space and the black box and a runway show. It was an extravaganza.
It was a really layered project, which I think was really good. And it really connected the community very much in, and each person got to wear their coat that told their story. It was extraordinary, I think. And there's this whole thing about coats, because Horizon had the coats in the library this year, where you could put a coat in and walk through the library area.
It's comforting. It's like it covers a lot For the coat project, we decided on coats because it's a really large canvas.
Yes,
so
that's true.
that as well. So there was a lot of photography printed onto fabric and then sewn into the coats.
Yeah. It was a very multi-layered, I think.
And we still need to find its forever home. So if anyone has any ideas, talk
it's
to
a
me.
hard one because it is how many coats?
17.
17 coats. So
Yeah.
it is a bit of a hard one to store, and then that it's so specific to that area.
Yeah,
but it's a really
absolutely.
lovely project that could be moved to various other communities as
Definitely.
well as a major project.
Yeah, totally.
So you collaborate. You love collaborating.
Yep.
You like working by yourself as well.
Yep.
You're a multi-talented artist. One would
a
suggest.
multi-potentialite. I've always got little ideas like a little bowerbird. Yeah.
Do you write them all down? Do you have a sketchbook or a book
I do
beside
have an
your
idea
bed?
book. Yes, I'm always writing ideas, and if I don't have a book, then I start just writing on a piece of paper, and then I've got all these stacks of paper. I'm like, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And post-it notes.
All the post-it notes.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you go back and look at those?
Yeah, definitely. I always go, and it's interesting going back and thinking, who was that person that wrote that? That was me, but a different version of me. Okay, let's see how we can integrate this with who I am now.
I'm really looking forward to this little mini survey book.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
you need to have
I
a whole
know.
ideas wall of all of your post-it notes as a photo.
I do.
So that
I'll do that for you.
Could you?
Yeah.
Joe said. Could
said.
you do this?
It's my Joe said wall.
Yeah. So just find what you love and go with that. That would be your...
Yeah, find what you love and find why you love it. Like, I think it's really distilling your reasons for doing it so that when stuff comes and tries to knock you sideways, you're like, no, this is my path. Yeah.
And that's why.
Yeah.
This
And
is
so,
why I do it. This
exactly.
is exactly what I do. And how do your parents understand your work? Do they-
100%. My mum's my biggest supporter.
Oh, that's
Absolutely. She was here when the announcement happened, and I went back from getting my big piece of paper, and she's there with tears. She's like, I'm so proud of you. Yeah. And
so
because she's
lovely.
super creative as well, but I think having had as many kids as she did, she was always gardening, she was always doing lots of other things.
Yeah.
She's back into pottery now, so me and her, we
nice.
spend
Do a bit
a day a week doing pottery, which is brilliant.
Slinging mud.
Slinging
Always
mud. I never
nice.
thought I would, but I love it, and I'm not taking it too seriously, and that's it's really good to have something like that in my practice where it's not about serious and then exhibiting or anything. It's just having fun. So yeah, mum's super creative, and I think my whole family gets it, which I'm
That's
super
really good.
grateful for. Yeah,
that's great.
absolutely.
All right. Well, I think we're going to start tying down now. I mean, we could probably keep going off on tangents, but thank you
Absolutely.
so much for coming in and
My
chatting.
pleasure. Thank you,
It's
Jo.
been such a joy. This is the last one of for the local Contemporary Art Prize. We've had the 3 major artists in, but if you haven't seen the prize, please get in. It closes on Sunday, and it's been unbelievably well attended, and it's a really strong show. I always say it's my favourite. I say it for every year. It's my favourite. This one's my favourite. But this one's been a beautiful show to hang and to actually have time to spend with the work, because they're quite extraordinary. Lots of really lovely 2D, lots of nice 3D, and so much different medium on the wall. So if you get time, please come in before 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. And thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Tuning in. See ya, bye.